I'm the first one to do that. I bet you never knew that. Back like a tailbone. Who you got the tail on? If it ain't about me, about whole D, about face. If you ain't on higher, learn it. The soda in the pot and the fire, burn it. This shit is so dope. You might wanna be my guest. This shit is so dope. You might wanna be my.
Berserk, the Golden Age Arc 3, The Advent, is the third part and the final part of the Berserk Golden Age Arc series. A year after his departure, Guts rejoins the Band of the Hawks, who are now on the run, to help them find and rescue Griffith. This is the last and final part of the Golden Age Arc series. We made it. We made it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, after watching the second installment, The Battle for Daldry, I thought it was a pretty decent film. I thought it was pretty good, way better than the first one. But to be fair here, it had some problems to the point where not only that I was left with unanswered questions, but I was also left disappointed. And by me having these filling methods, I came in with low expectations watching this one. But what gave me that little pick-me-up was the fact that this was the last of the franchise. This is the last of the Golden Age Arc series. So enough with the cliffhangers, enough with the unanswered questions, enough with the disappointment. Hit me hard with these punches. You got so much material here, and they done it. They done it well with the Advent. Not only that I think that they have answered a lot of things, but they added a lot of good closure too. And I'm gonna have to say, by them doing this and fleshing out a lot of other elements of material here on this last project, I think this might be, no, forget Mike. This is the best one. This is the best movie of the Golden Age Arc series. By this being the last of the Golden Age Arc series, they decided to start this anime off by us having closure, and I thought that was great. I thought that was very well polished. They also used the same scene on the 1997 version, but they decided to add more realistic gestures to it by Casca and Guts having conversations, having an argument, having debates, but at the same time clinging on to each other by them confronting their inner darkest inner me's, which is them doubting and saying that no, this is not it, this is not right. Especially Casca's character, as much as she wants to act like she has it all under control, she literally cleans into Guts by telling him that it's all your fault that Griffith is in this state. But at the same time, she literally lunges to him and attacks him. But at the same time, she also cries over his shoulder. And I thought that was well done. I thought that was well paced. They showed this in the original version, but they fleshed this out by Guts explaining to Casca that we need each other. It's not that we don't need a woman. It's not that we don't need a man. We need each other. And I thought that this was great because on the 1997 version, they made Guts too brutally blunt. They made him too much of a wrecking ball. And some people may think that that's a good thing for his character, but let's just face it here. When it comes to Guts being in this state already, and he's already at the verge of breaking at the very end of the series, you can't really tell them both apart because they both gonna act the same way. But I understand what the developers and the producers came with by giving Guts a more of a lighthearted gesture, because when this rude awakening does happen, then we can see how realistic he'll be able to transition when he loses his fucking mind. But they decide to add this closure to Casca and Guts' character by us having a more tighter bond towards them. They even had a sexual love scene with these two characters that I thought it was beautiful. I thought this was a very good pull-in for these two characters, so when things get bad, we can cling on to them and hoping that they can get out of this. Soon after that, we're introduced to the signs of the end times of this project by showing us Griffith's state as he is locked down in this dungeon waiting to get rescued. And he doesn't even know that he's waiting to get rescued. So he, being in this dungeon for over a year, being tortured, being mutilated. I mean, I already talked about this on my review of the 1997 version, but they have fleshed this out even more to the point where we feel more impactfully like emotion for this guy, hoping that they can get him out of this, because they have added a lot of scenes of what had they done to Griffith. And I like that a lot, because by us being intertwined with these characters, and when they come across Griffith, it was so quick when they rescue him in the 1997 version. They explain what they've done to him, but they have explained more on this to the point where the person that was torturing him actually not just explained to Gus what they've done to him, but he actually took his tongue and wore it as a fucking chain. Even when Griffith was captured, he was also having these signs of doubt, these depressional dreams of Guts like a figment of a shadow, just taking control and just taking over the throne, and him looking over his shoulder as in, you are following what I'm doing. This is not your dream. A lot of people would not understand that, but by me watching the 1997 version up until this one very, 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 very quickly, I can easily pick up things more. And I thought that was very good, because by Griffith being on that verge of breaking, he's having all these doubtful minds of what's going on outside, outside the dungeon. What are they doing? Is Casca and Guts taking over my throne? What is going on? Everything I built is destroyed. They show all these little nitpicky little signs as he's getting locked in. And I thought that was good, because it builds up his character of us believing how he's going to break down. And this is the reason why I keep telling people why I don't blame Griffith turning evil. People say that Griffith was wrong for what he did, and I'm not saying that he was right, but his choice was realistic. Now, if you was offered a choice of you selling your soul and you dying, a lot of people would choose death. But if you rather choose death and you see people taking things away from you and claiming it as their own, especially your friends, you might want to watch them die. And that's the reason why I think Griffith's character was crafted with perfection, because he saw a character that was so good, that was so great with his craft, that no one can ever oppose him. And if somebody was a threat to him, then he can use his pawns and his minions and his comrades to go defeat these people with him or for him. And I thought that his crafting of his character was great and polished with with great intel of us believing his choices, even if he went bad. But at the same time, they have took away a lot of important things in his character that the 1997 version had, that I don't understand why they didn't put that on a Golden Age arc series. It's a huge letdown, because when I said that the Battle for Daltrey is more of Casca's little mini story to the whole franchise before things end up being intertwined with other characters, this actually felt like Griffith's story on the Athenids. And I felt like those scenes before he broke, that was very important, before he ended up being who he was, that was cut out, needed to be added on here, because I believed his frail body. I believed the things he was going through. I mean, they show so much scenes that they did not show in the 1997 version of his frail body going through a lot of shit. There were times where he tried to put on armor and it didn't work out well for him because how frail his body was. Even when he tried to hold Guts and his arm was about to get ripped off. I mean, they show so much scenes of how frail his body is and just emotional his character is, to the point where it would have won us over completely if they showed a lot of more important scenes that the 1997 version has shown us already. Later on into the film, we are introduced to other signs of demonic activity, which is the end times that is approaching to this project that I mentioned. And I like that they have added more little elemental scenes of the demonic presence interacting with human life. They have showed that in the 1997 version, but they was extremely brief with it, of the demons showing up and people was literally flipping their shit. But they not only did they have fleshed that out a little bit more here, but they have showed a scene where where Guts actually got confronted by one of the demons before the lunar eclipse happened. And then when we are introduced to the lunar eclipse scene, I thought that I was ready to see everything happen again, because after me seeing the 1997 version, how the eclipse happened, how the demons showed up, how Griffith was persuaded to switch to the other side, and how all his men, including Guts, was being apprehended and being butchered and being mutilated, and you name it, they go through it. it's like a big massacre that you need to prepare yourself for, that every single fan of the Berserk series would tell you this. I thought I was ready. I thought the seatbelt was buckled tight enough, but by me watching this version, they knew that this version was important. They knew that if they was going to do this again, they need to not only make this great, but they need to give us more than the 1997 version had, and they have done that. They have done that, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready again. It starts off slow, just like the 1997 version, where the eclipse happens. But unlike the 1987 version, I will say the only flaw I had was the fact that it wasn't as dark as the 1997 version. And I don't mean dark as in gore, I mean dark as the environment. I like how they was stuck into this hell void, and it was just nothing but just blackage. And all you saw was barely any entities around you, but you knew they were there. And only times you saw people was when they was running for their lives or they was about to get mutilatedly killed. But on this one, you could see everything clear as day. Only thing that was horrific was the fact that they was running for their lives and the demons was killing them. And I felt like that was a little bit, I can't say it was a disappointing thing, honestly. But they have won me over by showing me how these people was getting killed in its own unique way. Some of them died the same. Some of them got killed in their own little unique way that was practically the same way. A couple of them, I was a little disappointed because how quick they end up getting killed off. But at the same time, they have put a lot of emphasis to the environmental aspect of how these demons showed up and how they was beginning to consume each of these people. And Guts, I was more focused on Guts and Casca's fate, because this is where we have to focus on how they was going to survive this. They have fleshed out Guts' survival on here a lot more than I anticipated. I thought that he was going to be able to kill a couple of demons and then Griffith shows up again, but no, like, he was really fighting his heart out, man, to the point where he took a couple of hits. They didn't want to make him too unstoppable, so they made him more realistic. But I was a little disappointed for Casca, because even though she was a warrior and everything like that, but they didn't really, I thought that she was going to at least put up a fight, but just like the 1997 version, she just gets captured. The sacrifice that gets taken place, we're introduced to the rebirth of Griffith, and I like how they have done the animation to his character. I thought that his character looked very imposing. It's like day and night. You can't really tell them apart anymore. Only thing you can tell apart is just their eyes, how they look. But everything else is completely like differentiated. He even gave me Frieza vibes when he finally transitioned to his final form. And it's not just by the look. It's by his imposement and by his integrity standpoint and just how deadly he is. And I'm not talking about the Frieza that we know today. I'm talking about the planet Namek Frieza. The Frieza that was once feared towards every single body, including us as we was high school kids. Can't wait to go home to watch to see if Goku will make it in time. I felt the same vibes as I saw this part where Griffith was born, when Griffith was reborn, and Guts was just staring at him like, what the hell happened to him? I was getting chills. And then what made me feel this even more was that when Griffith was reborn, and when Guts and Griffith was staring at each other, all you just heard was Guts' heartbeat racing. And I love that. If you got surround sound speakers or like a sound bar, that will really get you in a lot of tense level feel. I didn't even tell you about the fate yet with Guts and Casca. The main thing that I had to get ready for. They have made their fate more and more horrific, and not to the point where they decided to stretch this out, because let's just be fair here, the last episode of 1997 version, it was horrific, it was pretty bad, but at the same time it was quick. It was quick. If you leave within 2 minutes and you forget to pause the television, it's over. But they have fleshed this scene out when Casca gets raped in front of Guts, and she literally, I mean, Jesus Christ, I was like, oh my God, and then Guts literally just loses his shit, and they of course showed the scene where he gets his arm bit by one of the demons, and he have to cut his arm off, and they showed a lot of detail to that. Even the part with his eye, when he loses his eye, when the demon holds him down and the claw begins to pierce his eye, they added so much detail to the point where they wanted you to feel the emotion, they wanted you to feel the tension, and not only that, but the atmospheric levels of this anime part where they show all this in the lunar eclipse too. It looked great, but at the same time I was I was feeling all this. I was feeling traumatized. I was feeling uncomfortable, but I was just overwhelmed of how well done everything took place, and I was really enjoying the revisit of that scene. Hence called my beautiful madness. I haven't really talked that much about the animation since I'm now on this topic. And the reason I haven't talked that much about it is because the animation on here, they're beginning to understand. Because the 3D on here, it's on here, but it's only when it's necessary. They decide to put the animation 3D qualities only in the environment where you see trees and you see grass and you see clouds move, so it can add more realization tension to the characters that are hand drawn finally. I thought that was a very beautiful mix up. I have no problem with the animation on this movie. Even the music on this project was great. Well done, well executed. They decided to add a lot of pianic mosaic, trumpet like music from the biblical times, like, you know, from old like war movies and television shows that we've known in today, and they put it on this that sounds so beautiful. I really felt engaged. I really felt like I was in a very intense level. I felt sorrow when it was necessary. I felt very uncomfortable when it was necessary, especially the ending. After we see Guts and Casca's fate, which they finally explained how they end up getting out of that hellbound. When they explained everything and when they showed the true fate of these two characters, we are left with a black screen, and it just plays that tone mellow music, leaving us thinking, leaving us guessing. And let's just face it here. If you was expecting something like this to end in flying colors of just a happily ever after, you a fucking idiot. Knowing that there's a series right after the whole Golden Age arc trilogy, this ending of this, you have to watch the credits. You have to stay tuned for the credits, because after the credits and they show Guts putting on his new outfit, you know, getting his little swagger on, and then then he just walks towards the camera, and then it just turns black, giving us the words of "it's just only the beginning." Overall, this project was very, very good. Well done with the least problems. I felt very, very, very surprised of how much I enjoyed this project. I actually can't wait to watch this again when my girlfriend comes over, because I told her so much about Berserk and she's not even an anime fan. she does not like anime because she's been introduced to a lot of bad animes that people like to beef up today. I feel like if you're gonna watch animes for the first time, you can't start off with an anime that has over 200 episodes. You want to start with an anime that has at least 50, just to be on the safe side, man. I mean, I feel like if you're gonna start hard with an anime that has like over 25 episodes, that's like starting with anal sex for the first time. That's a very bad analogy. But I'm just saying, by me watching this again, and because I know people that is fans of Berserk and they don't even want to touch the Golden Age arc trilogy because of the fear of certain things that they don't add into the, you know, that did not add into this film that was very important, but they also included a lot of things too. Y'all are missing out. I feel like if you are a fan of Berserk, you need to watch this. And this also comes to the people who watch this film and end up watching the series but have not touched 1997 version. Y'all need to watch that too, because they're both good in their own ways. I haven't even given the 1997 version a perfect rating because even that has problems. So y'all need to watch both of them, especially up until this one. This one was very freaking good. I'm gonna have to give Berserk, the Golden Age Arc 3, the Abnett, a B+. Does that even exist? Have I ever given that rating? I've been reviewing things for a long time. Hold on, does that show that up here? Does that okay, that does exist. A B+, that even sounds weird. Other than that, that's all I have to say for today. Stay tuned for my upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and I hope you guys have a good day today.